Ms. Kiran, how do you look at it as a child psychologist? As a parent myself, I know that children are already exposed to so much screen time because of online schooling. They already have several hours of screen time with them. They're anyway replacing meeting with friends with Zoom calls, etc. So that is one very real concern. Do you want to add one more activity which again involves more screen time?
Right. Tamanna, I think first thing is that what Sahil also mentioned, that we have to understand what do we mean when we say coding, right? Now, are we talking about developing computational skills, or we are talking about teaching the children the language which the computer understands? All right. So there are two different things. Now, if we try to assume that, okay, the young children can learn it much faster, any languages, they can learn 2 to 3 languages, going to 4 languages also early on. So computer language could be just any other languages. But what we need to understand is when a child is learning a language, first we need to place a need for it, right? So when a child is learning a language, a social language, it is to connect with people. There's an aim there, right? And there's a culture behind where the language is emanating from. So when we say that, okay, start learning coding early on, or you may never learn it, or you may miss the bus. So we are, in my opinion, unnecessarily creating a fear factor in the parents that, okay, if I'm not doing it, maybe I'm not doing enough for my child, or maybe my child will not be able to achieve the potential that he or she wants to achieve. Right? So we really need to remove that fear factor here. And what you rightly said is, of course, my more concern is that if what is it that it will rob the child from. So if the child is already in front of the screens because of their schools, though it's a coronavirus lockdown, and of course, down the line if it goes away, in any case, the child is using it for the entertainment. They're using computer, they are using iPads, they are using phones, they are using TV. Then we are adding one more screen here. That is, please learn the coding. And I have parents who say, you know what, my child just missed his or her coding classes today. So the parents have added that as one more problem to be solved, one more motivation to give to the children. So I think that is where the challenge can come. If only we start seeing coding not as a language, but more as just another skill. Like the way a child could be learning how a car works, right? The battery connections and all. Okay, how is it that the program which looks like, what is it going behind it? If it is just seen like that, then probably we'll get a perspective. Instead of thinking that my child is going to be more employable, because that is a wrong way, misplaced way of thinking. Just because my child is going into sports in the school, just because my child is going for music in the school, doesn't mean my child is going to be a sports person or going to be a musician. So we need to really remove the economics part out of it. And of course, as what Madhav sir also said, that there is definitely is a big vested commercial interest out there. Why is it being pushed so much? So that's my take out here.
Yeah. No, so Kiran, I want your take also about the age from which children should start. You're right, it's an added pressure because it's an added extracurricular activity as well. We're hearing of children as young as 7, 6, 7, 8 who are now learning coding with this whole stress around it. When do you think is the right age to introduce something like this, which is generally complex and which perhaps their parents have no idea of? So they can't be of any assistance, or they can't even discuss it with them beyond a point. It's completely alien.
Right. Now, the interesting part out here, Tamanna, is that the way coding is being designed, right, when it is being taught to the children, it is done in a very, very subtle manner. First, it's a block kind of thing, and it is done in a manner where they are able to hold the interest of the child. Right? So it is done at the speed of the child. That's the beauty of it. That is why they are able to hold the interest of the child for much longer. Otherwise, it will become a very tedious. If you ask any of the programmer, I have been one. If you ask any of the programmer, they will say that the amount of discipline which is required out here, it is not about getting the thing working. It is more about figuring it out why it is not working. And we are also doing away with the biological development of a child, the abstract thinking of a child, the logical thinking of a child. All these things needs to be given time. We can't just expect a 6 years old child or 7 years old child to start thinking abstractly. The child is biologically not developed enough to start thinking from that point of view. So when you talk about right age, Tamanna, here, I would not want to put it as like very specific, but yes, as much as we take the screen time, as we take the skills, and if we notice that yes, the child is showing interest in it, we can always take it from that point of view. But we cannot be putting it as that, okay, my child need to learn it. I need to motivate my child. It's like any other classes. Whatever classes that we send to the child with, it should be treated like that. If the child is not showing an interest, we shouldn't really force, give it some more time. When children are growing up in a highly technology dominated world, they are bound to learn the technical skills. So we shouldn't worry. An ideal age, if you ask me, should be at least till the time the child is at least able to sit through structural activities. Because if you think from coding point of view, at the end of the day, it is highly structured. It is a box. And the child had to think within the box, within the limited option of the box. Yeah. And young children, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, need to concentrate more on expansive thinking, need to concentrate more on innovative thinking, need to concentrate more on interpersonal skills. How do I go down and make friends? Right? They need to learn behavioral skills, emotional skills, social skills. So more than the time which is going there, they should be developing these skills. So if you talk to me about the ideal age, it should definitely wait till they are 12, 13, 14 years old. Yeah.